Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Euros Daily Debrief. Another post-mortem of another disappointing England performance and result. It's now the third tournament in a row that England have drawn their second game after an early victory and been unconvincing in their fashion. And I think this is a very frustrating pattern that everyone's really seen with Gareth Southgate's England recently. They don't really know their identity in an attacking sense. They are more concerned about dealing with their defensive shortcomings. I think that was really summed up by Gareth Southgate admitting that there is no replacement for Calvin Phillips in the post-match interviews. That attitude is why England are not likely to come good on their tag as early favourites for this tournament, because although they've got the likes of Foden, Bellingham, Kane up front, who all three of whom didn't play particularly well yesterday, don't get me wrong, but although they've got all those players, they don't play to their strengths. Foden on the left again. I said after the Serbia game on Sunday that we can't really blame Foden too much. He has to take some responsibility, but he's playing out of position. That was always likely to happen. And the same thing for Harry Kane as well for me. Yes, he can do better, and I fully understand Gary Lineker's perspective on this as a former England striker, and somebody who's way more qualified to talk about it than me. But you don't play Foden in the middle. You don't take the handbrake off a little bit and actually play to your strengths. Then England are not going to get the best out of Kane. Kane's going to get frustrated. He's going to come deep. That's what he does. There are too many players trying to play number 10 in this team. I think that's absolutely fair. It should be Foden with Bellingham deeper, because the two of them do understand how to move and create space for one another. We saw that in glimpses in the first half on Sunday, but Bellingham is better at doing the deeper stuff than anybody else in the team. That's what I genuinely believe. He's a number 8, masquerading and impressing as a number 10 at Real Madrid this season. So all action, he's so good at everything. Play him deeper, play Foden in the middle, and bring Gordon on to stretch the pitch and make England much more of a threat out wide, because they don't have that, because both Foden and Trippier are coming inside from the left. There's no threat on there. There's no ways of stretching the pitch and making it big and causing problems for the fullbacks. Certainly of Denmark yesterday, that didn't happen. It was a really, really poor performance. After going ahead early on through Kane's goal, which was great work by Kyle Walker, they sat back again, and Gareth Southgate seems to suggest that it wasn't tactical, but why the England players all drop back? Maybe it's a fatigue thing, I don't know, but every single time they go a goal ahead, they drop back and invite pressure. We know they're not particularly good defensively compared to going forward, but to almost rely on that once you're 1-0 up, it invites pressure. Obviously, we know what happened with Hjulmand's equaliser. Denmark were the better team in the second half, and probably if one team deserved to win, it was them. So this is another example of where we are with England, and I'm not going to go into it again, but I've said so many times Foden central, Gordon on the left, and Bellingham deeper, dropping Trent, because that's the thing that you need to do. Because Trent isn't a centre midfielder; he's a brilliant player, but you've got to sacrifice. There's so much quality condensed in certain positions in this squad that you've got to sacrifice some of it. Otherwise, you're in the same position that Sven-Goran Eriksson was with uh, Paul Scholes, and this is a massive, massive issue. I'm sure England will still beat Slovenia, top the group, and go through comfortably, but this is a real worrying trait that's now 3 tournaments in. They can grow, they can develop, they can change, they can attack teams. We've seen that in the past. Hopefully, that does come later. The other games, Luka Jovic saved a point for Serbia against Slovenia, which is another good result, because no other team has won a game other than England in the group. So England are still in a massively strong position, but it was a really poor performance, I thought, by Benjamin Sesko, Dusan Vlahovic, and Alexander Mitrovic in a game that we were all expecting strikers to be the talking point. They were, but not in the way. It was Jovic who came up with the goal. Slovenia, I thought, defended really well in that game. I did write a piece on that game for Football 365, so do go and check that out if you can. I'll put a link to it on my Twitter page. Spain against Italy, and this is another example of Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams particularly being absolutely phenomenal. Williams has got a €55 million release clause in his contract. It's going to be taken up by somebody at some stage, and probably Barcelona have been linked, and other clubs in Spain perhaps, but a lot of Premier League clubs will be looking at him. He can go both ways. He created the goal for an own goal for Ricardo Calafiori, who I spoke about on my Newcastle United transfer show yesterday, and he's just a constant thorn in the side, just like Yamal was against Croatia. So Spain have a lot of quality, and they could go all the way this summer with those two young players coming through and giving a glimpse of a very exciting future. Thanks very much for joining me on this episode. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Cheers.